Hello and welcome. Let's look at the Taurus New Moon coming on the 16th of May. The burning question that this new moon asks is, how can your failures support you? This Taurus New Moon lands with a different pace to it. Taurus holds its own relationship with time. Time, it is Earth's oldest spell, says Susan Chang. You are asked to stop. Apply the lessons of past failures to support yourself going forward. How did you navigate the heat and the urgency of recent months? On all those Aries activations that we just experienced. Life is now just slowing down enough for us to notice what is quietly becoming unsustainable. It might be that the Aries season showed you what is no longer for you. You might now be sensing this growing awareness that some parts of your life need more care, steadiness, or honesty. Taurus brings attention back to what is real and tangible. It might be in your body or your resources, perhaps your energy, or even your precious time. The structures and routines that shape everyday life. At the time of this new moon, there's a strong sense of returning to the foundations and recognizing what is stable and ready to support you over the long term. Are you ready to integrate these past failures? The lunation is dark in the sky, and it lands with fixed star Algol and asteroid mother Ceres. These are both aspects of the divine feminine, drawing in deeper themes of survival, nourishment, nurturing, protection, depletion, instinct, and self-worth into the heart of this cycle. You may be dealing with one or more of these themes. Perhaps you're arriving at a threshold in your life, especially if your chart is activated by this lunation. Do keep listening. And please share any of your reflections in the comments. I love to hear your stories. I'm Sonia from Celestia Astrology. In this video, we're going to be looking at journal prompts and ritual for this time of the new moon. At the nature of Taurus, fixed earth, what is a new moon? At the Taurus moon family cycle, we'll go deeper into the decan of Taurus 3, which Austin Coppock has called prayer beads. And we'll look at the tarot correspondence of the Seven of Pentacles, and also a verse by Susan Chang. And as always, as an astrologer, I'll be looking at the astrological conversation in the sky, what aspects are happening right now that make this Taurus new moon unique. And I'll be offering some practical guidance that might help you at this time. And then finally, I'll draw it all together. My work centers around helping people understand the longer cycles and patterns that they're living through. Through traditional and lunar astrology, moon families, astro-mindfulness, and reflective chart work, I help people to navigate these changes, their own personal timing, and life's unfolding cycles with greater clarity and awareness. This helps you make the most of any opportunities and to meet any challenges and difficulties with a greater understanding of why they've arrived in your life. Astrology becomes so much more useful when it helps you with this understanding of where you are, what is developing for you over time, and it guides you how to respond and work with the cycle consciously, although, of course, you always retain your free will. If this new moon is stirring questions for you around sustainability, your own pace, your direction, or what genuinely deserves your energy moving forwards, you're warmly invited to work with me. So journal prompts. If you journal, or even if you don't, you might want to consider starting a practice at this Taurus new moon. It's tangible, it's earthy. Have a go at it now and see how it works for you. Some prompts that you might like to work with, and of course, feel free to bring in your own as you can work with it, see what comes up and explore it. What feels genuinely sustainable for you now? Where in your life are you being asked to surrender, slow down, or have patience? What parts of your life feel nourishing for you? And what would a steadier relationship with your own self look like over the next year? What kind of a future are you slowly building through your daily choices? And where can you learn lessons from your failures? Let's turn now to look at simple ritual. You might like to expand on it or change it to make it work for you. I suggest choosing something tangible that you want to tend more carefully, something that's been maybe calling to you or asking for your attention. This might be a room, say, for example, that you need to organize better or clear out. It could be your finances, that you've let some paperwork pile up. It could be your body, changes in your diet, for example, that have been necessary and on your mind for a while, but you haven't quite made those changes yet. It could be your workspace needs some tender loving care, or something else that really matters to you. It could be a previously neglected part of your everyday life, but somehow you're feeling it call to you now. Sit with it. Connect slowly with it, mindfully. And as you do, then clean it, repair it, organize it, work with it, whatever's needed to nourish it with care and attention that it might have lacked until now. And as you're doing this work of devotion, reflect on what you're trying to cultivate moving forward and what kind of life you genuinely want to sustain over time. How might you and your choice both nourish and support each other now that this connection is being renewed? You might wish to speak your hopes and dreams for this connection into the space as you spend time with your tangible choice. Let this act itself become a quiet devotional practice. Can you make a quiet commitment for the future? What unknown forces might you need to surrender to? What planning might it take? Reflect on that as you close out your time with your tangible choice. This new moon in Taurus is an invitation to experience a grounded, stable cycle, emphasizing themes of endurance, patience, and preservation. We're invited to transmute our worry into practical plans and connect with Mother Nature. We step into the Venusian garden, where potential and work create beauty and peace of mind. This is a time supporting you for planting intentional seeds in your metaphorical garden that you intend to grow into material and tangible results, not only pleasing your senses, but also to improve your view of the world. This lunation invites you to step into the stillness of fixed earth and reflect on: what will you grow? How will you tend it? How can you protect it from the forces that you can't control? What does it look like when your work is done and you need to step back and allow nature to take its course? The moon is exalted in Taurus, making this a fertile time to align with nature's rhythms and embody steady, grounded progress. But this new moon is not without challenge. There is no direct support available from the sign ruler or the decan rulers. Support comes through indirect channels, which may show up in ways that you're not at first aware of. Taurus's fixed nature is patient and resilient, but its shadow is a resistance to change. If we allow plodding, persistence, respect for time, if we flow with the twists and turns and have gratitude for the journey, we hopefully find that what happens slowly, indeed, happens well here. Let's look at the symbolism of Venusian fixed Earth. Taurus slows things down enough for us to notice what is around us. Many of us embraced this awareness during the lockdown time, when traffic and noise stilled, social commitments dissolved. We had space to root ourselves into our local environment. Nature returned to grab our attention. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, known for its grounded, patient, stable, and enduring nature. Ruled by Venus and by the moon in its exaltation, Taurus is feminine, or yin, which means receptive, often processing events internally rather than through external action out in the world. And it focuses on the tangible, material, and sensual aspects of life. Taurus embodies this earth element through its connection to nature, stability, and value, making it a sign that represents resilience, determination, and an appreciation for life's tangible pleasures. Its fixed quality gives Taurus a persistent and dependable energy, which can feel like a rock in turbulent times. It's symbolized by the bull, often slow-moving but powerful and heavy. Taurus prefers gradual growth and steady foundations over any quick movements or constant changes. Taurus can sometimes get reduced to significations of pleasure or comfort seeking as one of the significations of its ruler, Venus. However, there's something deeper that drives that instinct. Taurus is a sign that inherently understands value and its cost. The Taurus in your life may crave luxury products, but will also treasure them and enjoy them with all of their senses. Taurus will also know what is worth your time, your care, or where to focus your effort. What allows life to feel rooted, supported, and sustainable over time. This might feel like recognizing what you no longer have any energy for, perhaps realizing that something small and simple matters more than you first thought. I describe this as finding the sacred in the mundane. This can also show up in another earth sign, Virgo. Taurus reminds us that our lives are usually built slowly. Most of us are not on a fast roller coaster life of high drama. We make small, daily decisions that over time create the form that our life takes. Sometimes it's punctuated by those big decisions to move, to marry, to apply for, or to accept this job or that one. But these are often spaced out. Many small decisions have often led us to the point of the big decision. Here's a challenge. Can you put your phone down and maybe take a short walk locally at a leisurely pace and just see what calls out to you and draws your attention? You'll most likely find a vivid, lively, fascinating world that meets you. Or maybe you already know this life hack. At this time, you may find yourself reassessing routines, commitments, financial priorities, your relationships, your creative work, or just the simple structure of your everyday life. The shifts may not look dramatic externally, but internally, something is clarifying for you. This new moon in Taurus has an added layer of significance as the moon is exalted in Taurus. This is a placement where the moon feels especially comfortable and is said to be raised up. The moon's exaltation emphasizes themes of emotional security and physical grounding, encouraging us to slow down, appreciate what we have, and cultivate patience. Stop and smell the roses, if you like. The new moon brings a fresh lunar cycle as the sun and moon meet monthly in the same sign, and this month it's in Taurus. At first, much of the process remains internal, as the dark sky invites us to go within, overshadowed by its proximity to the sun. A feeling or an insight can form, ready for seeding, long before any external changes emerge. You may find your attention shifts. I recommend just noticing what options are presenting, which doors are opening, as well as doors closing for you now. Is a path opening up for you, or are previous blocks now being removed? This is all useful information to fertilize your earth. Which ones feel appealing and are aligned? Allow something to gently begin germinating and taking root beneath the surface of your life. In Taurus, this new growth unfolds gradually, aligned with the natural rhythms of time, nature, and celestial cycles. There is wisdom here in slowing down enough to listen properly to what your life and your body are asking for. We can observe multiple lunar cycles at once. The Taurus moon is the beginning of the 28-day lunar month, where the moon will move through all of the lunar phases before the next new moon in Gemini next month. We can also track the 6-month cycle between a new moon and a full moon in the same sign, when what is initiated now comes to fruition and is illuminated. However, this full moon may land in a different decan of the sign. For example, the Taurus full moon on the 26th of October 2026 is in the decan of Taurus 1. This means it may activate different individual placements and angles for personal tracking. Astrologer Dietrich Pessin in Lunar Shadows 3 introduces an even longer cycle of approximately 27 months, tracking the moon's progression as it returns to the same degree range in the zodiac, from new to quarter, full, and then closing phases relative to the sun. The new moon marks a seeding point in this lunar family, offering a pull to plant new seeds in the area of your life that Taurus falls in your chart, and a hidden thread that weaves a narrative story arc that's beginning now. So here is a graphic of the new moon in Taurus 3 with the dates for the Taurus moon family, and also an illustration of the lunar cycle, so we can see that it moves from the new moon through the first quarter, around to the full moon, and then back to the last quarter before it renews itself again with a new moon. So right now we see the new moon 16th of May at 25 degrees of Taurus, and this will be followed by a first quarter moon on the 14th of February 2027 at 25 degrees of Taurus. The full moon will be on the 14th of November 2027 at 21 degrees of Taurus, and that will be followed by a last quarter on the 13th of August 2028 at 21 degrees of Taurus. So you're beginning this new cycle, and that's a 27-month process. But even beyond then, as you spend the time between the last quarter moon and the following new moon in Taurus. So you're in a 27-month building process that's focusing on stability, resources, the body, and building something that's lasting. And this current phase is the new moon, so it's the beginning, the initiation, the activation, asking you, what are you ready to build over time? And it's activating 16 to 27 degrees of the fixed signs. That's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And also, if your perfection lord of the year or your solar return ascendant ruler is Venus, this may also activate your chart. So moon families track this evolving, progressing relationship between the sun and the moon. Over time, they reveal deeper developmental themes moving beneath everyday events. This Taurus cycle feels connected to those themes that we mentioned earlier, themes like nourishment, survival, embodiment, resources, self-worth, sustainability, planning, creativity, protection, and the rebuilding of steadier foundations. With Algol and Ceres woven into this lunation, there may also be themes around exhaustion, emotional labor, reclaiming personal authority, grief, caretaking, or beginning to recognize where survival patterns have shaped your decisions for longer than you realized. Taurus moon family cycles are about building something real enough to last. Relax into the gentle pace. This is slow and steady growth, a time of setting roots and nurturing what we wish to cultivate over time. If you're not sure if this moon family is activated for you, an astrologer or an astro coach like me can help you. I offer moon family readings if you want to explore your activated and future moon family stories, and I'll put a link to those in the show notes. We also do this work in Celestia Circle in community as we look ahead at the moon families coming up for a month and discuss how this affects our charts and our plans. This new moon lands in the third decan of Taurus. This is a double rulership by Saturn in both the Chaldean and Trappist rulerships. This brings focus to the Saturnian energy, offering themes of longevity, preparation, and humility. Austin Coppock offers a symbol of prayer beads, speaking to resilience under pressure, while Kira Reiber calls it preservation, highlighting effort and persistence. Once you've prepared all you can, your focus turns to preserving what you have prepared, and then it is time to surrender and pray. Ultimately, we are all at the mercy of greater forces. The Wild Way names it Weather the Storm, capturing the enduring atmosphere of the Deccan. They all bring that image of the intensity of effort and surrender to greater forces. With Saturn's Deccan rulership, we are learning about the boundaries of our endurance, the benefits of long-term planning, and also when it is necessary to just surrender and pray. Growth here rarely unfolds under easy or perfect conditions. It's often asking for endurance, resilience, and planning ahead, as we've discussed. This may bring delays. We might experience it as heavier responsibilities, uncertainty, emotional fatigue, or a gradual realization that something requires far more commitment than first expected. Taurus 3's wisdom teaches us that we can find grounding and resilience through dedicated daily efforts. With the influence of Saturn, the new moon in Taurus urges us to think of long-term commitments rather than immediate rewards. In the card shown in the image, the Wild Way deck by Nicola Allen, this is the Stag card, and it's titled Weather the Storm, and that reflects this Saturnian wisdom. It tells the story of fortitude and perseverance in times of adversity. The card shows a stag, still and grounded on a grassy hill, gazing up at storm clouds in a starry sky. One bright planet or star may be acting as the stag's guide through a stormy time. The Wild Way guidebook says, Stag knows that patience, humility, and inner strength are cultivated through confronting hardship, often through no fault of our own. But as turbulent as the journey may be, we learn to prepare, to ask for assistance when necessary, and to bolster ourselves against inevitable changes. As the new moon offers us a fresh start, it also asks us to fortify our foundations and to set up plans for any future challenges, bringing in that Saturnian theme of that preparedness and responsibility. We are asked not only to expect the unexpected, but to face it with grace and preparation. The Oracle card offers the Taurus 3 keywords of turbulent times. Always be prepared, ward against misfortune, to guide us here. Let's look at the tarot symbolism. In this card, we see a figure standing, perhaps in a garden or maybe the field, looking carefully at what they've grown so far. We see the figure thoughtfully resting their hands and chin on a stake. There are 6 pentacles appearing to grow on the foliage, and then just one is at the figure's feet. This suggests that lasting rewards often require sustained effort and commitment. It speaks to putting the time and energy into a goal with the understanding that growth is not instant but steady. We can see the effort, but we are also reminded that it is important to take a moment to pause and reflect, perhaps on how time has been allowed to pass, or the energy that has been invested as we reach the moment of assessment and adjustment. This card is often called the Lord of Failure. We see one pentacle on the ground. Has it fallen? Can it be saved? Will it rot? Can the figure learn from this to help the others? There are questions asked and adjustments needed. Susan Chang advises us to learn from our mistakes and fail better. In her blog on this card, she says, draw on past lessons learned to remedy accidents due to oversight or negligence. Be skeptical of fate and make use of your contingency plans. Should everything go sideways, call it a learning experience. Take a leaf from Samuel Beckett's book, and next time, fail better. This card also speaks to maturity and long-term perspective. Meaningful growth often unfolds more slowly than we would like while we are inside it. Under this new moon, there may be a strong awareness of how your daily choices, habits, work, relationships, and commitments are shaping the future gradually over time. What can you learn from your failures and apply going forwards? The card illustrates Saturn's influence in the third decan of Taurus, reminding us of the magic of time as a transformative element. We need patience, and to understand that the results we seek are being shaped through steady dedication and will support us. Saturn's emphasis on preservation and diligence in Taurus 3 encourages us to remain committed to our path, even or especially when progress feels slow. Just as a farmer must wait for the harvest, the new moon invites us to have faith in the work that we've invested in, knowing that we can continue to plan, tend, and nurture our investment. The rewards are on the way. And now I like to capture this in verse from Susan Chang's book, Dreaming the Decans. The verse dedicated to this decan captures this essence we've been talking about and the potential magic of time beautifully. Respect the plodding of the bull. Know when to push and when to pull. Rooted in darkness, Saturn broods. Believe in that which he occludes. Time, it is Earth's oldest spell. What happens slowly happens well. We choose to honor time as an ally when we slow our pace. We are reminded not to fear Saturn, the lord of time and the planet of borders, hard lessons and discipline. Saturn moves methodically and rhythmically, weaving these spells of endurance that only reveal their full form with patience and persistence. It is a timely reminder, especially as Saturn grapples with the challenges of fast-moving Aries. Now let's look at this astrological conversation. The new moon's aspects draw our attention to the themes of the divine feminine, self-reliance, grounding, and preparation. The sun and moon meet together at 25 degrees of Taurus. The moon is feeling indulgent here and is spreading her joy to us as she moves through her exaltation. Everybody just seems a little bit happier and lighter when the moon is in Taurus. Mercury and the Sun just met in Cazimi at 23 degrees on Thursday, and they began a fresh new cycle together. So we see Mercury is separating from that, but the moon has literally just moved through the degree that they met at, the 23 degrees, on the same day as the lunation. Mercury is now separating from the Sun, but the moon is applying to Mercury, and their proximity brings a voice to the new agreements that were forged in the Cazimi, while Mercury remains combust and overwhelmed by the heat and the beams of the sun. The message to us may arrive in a similar, subtle way, maybe intuition, omens from nature, or in dreams. Your attention may turn towards the practical realities of how you are living, what your energy is supporting, and whether your current support structures are sustainable emotionally, financially, physically, and spiritually. We've fixed our algol at 26 degrees, signifying fierce, feminine protectiveness and the depths of creativity. Algol is also well known for the signification of losing one's head, although these days astrologers may see this manifesting as headaches, migraines, or finally losing your cool, as well as head injuries for Algol natives. In contrast, asteroid Ceres, signifying nurturing and the mother-child relationship, is at 25 degrees. And the astrologer that I recently had mentoring with, Louise Edgington, has written a book on Ceres if you want to find out more about her. Together, they're sitting either side of this new moon. Also, it made me think about how the tarot trump card for the sign ruler Venus is the Empress. So I think here we're seeing three facets of the divine feminine and different ways that it can manifest. We might expect women in power to be important around this time. We might also reflect on how we embody all aspects of our own divine feminine nature, and that's present within us all, whatever gender we are. Ceres speaks to nourishment and loss, but also to the cycles of return that follow periods of depletion. Algol intensifies instinct and exposes what can no longer remain buried beneath endurance or silence. These themes could become more instinctive and emotionally charged right now. For example, if your chart is activated, it may show up as unprocessed grief, anger, depletion, fear, resentment, or survival strategies, and they can all be rising close to the surface now, asking for integration or healing in this cycle. And remember, with the Moon family, we've got a longer time to do this work if it's really important and difficult stuff that comes up for you. You may also recognize where constant giving, caretaking, or overworking, perhaps carrying responsibility for others, has gradually disconnected you from your own needs and limits. Venus, ruler of the new moon, brings focus towards relationships, values, resources, desire, nourishment, and emotional reciprocity. She has no traditional line of sight to the new moon from the last degrees of Gemini. We do see her and Mercury sharing goals and working well together as they are in mutual reception. Mercury is in Venus's sign and Venus is in Mercury's sign. The Decan ruler, Saturn in Aries, may add a feeling of urgency while being blocked. Like Venus, it cannot offer direct support. Saturn finds it harder in this fast-paced, instinctive, reactive, and youthful sign. Saturn slows things down enough for reality to become clear. It may be revealing where stronger boundaries, clearer priorities, and more sustainable foundations are needed now. However, it is likely to show up indirectly, maybe through another person, in a dream, or a message you receive. There are two separating aspects for this new moon. Pluto is in a superior whole sign square, so the lunation is separating from Pluto, but there's still a connection by this whole sign square aspect. This might be speaking to an existing situation that may have been unearthed. Perhaps you're still dealing with rebalancing the new power dynamics. You may be working on integrating a shadow aspect of self, and the new moon represents a reset. The moon also met earlier on the same day in a pleasant exact degree-based sextile with exalted Jupiter in the moon's home sign of Cancer. This is carrying the uplifting support of home, family, nourishing support, and optimism into the lunation. Those pleasant memories can inform the decisions you make now and the voice that Mercury brings to this time. Here's some practical guidance, which you can take or not, or adapt as it suits you. I've got 3 ideas here. The first is reflect on long-term commitments. Think about where you've invested your time and energy over the past 6 months since the last Taurus full moon. Consider what's going well and what may need adjustment or release to help you reach your fullest potential. Practice Saturnian discipline. We don't always enjoy that. The double Saturnian rulership in Taurus 3 is offering to teach us planning and endurance. Saturn's rulership in this decan asks us to think about the future. Now is a great time to plan and commit to structures and routines that support tangible, practical, long-term goals, such as in personal projects, relationships, or finances. Take some time to review your foundations, maybe financial, emotional, or physical. Review lessons you may have learned from failures in this area, then make adjustments that bring stability. And the third one is mindful meditation on resilience. Engage in a practice of grounding and patience, connecting with the earth to anchor yourself amid any turbulence. Visualize yourself as a sturdy oak tree, weathering winds with grace, drawing strength from your roots, growing towards the sun's light and warmth. Lean into Taurus's steady, earthy energy with activities like spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, or connecting with tangible elements that provide a sense of security. And just a reminder of who feels it the most with the new moon in Taurus, it's the fixed signs, that is Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, particularly with placements around 25 degrees in any of those signs. Also those with personal planets or angles in the earth signs. So you may also find the moon provides supportive energy for grounding, persistence, and perseverance. So finally, this Taurus new moon feels like a return to the quieter truths that emerge when life slows down just enough for us to hear ourselves properly again. This Taurus new moon invites us to embrace stability, find comfort in routine, and honor time's gentle unfolding. By aligning with Taurus's energy of resilience and preservation, we're reminded to invest in what endures and honor the wisdom that comes with patience. Some things might feel heavier right now because they genuinely require attention, or the planning wasn't quite enough. Others may be falling away simply because they can no longer be sustained in the same way, and we need to allow ourselves to fail better. Return to the burning question and lean into your inner wisdom to recognize the difference. How can your failures support you? Reflect and apply what you learn. This is where it is most important. Algol and Ceres, together with the lunation, are inviting us to take a fresh look at our own divine feminine nature. How we navigate these themes of survival, nourishment, instinct, grief, and the gradual rebuilding that follows periods of exhaustion or loss. They remind us that caring is not weakness, and that boundaries are necessary to avoid failure. Rest and natural rhythms are an essential part of growth. Take your time to smell the roses, and remember that time, it is Earth's oldest spell. So thank you for spending this time with me. If you've enjoyed this, if you found it helpful in any way, I would be so grateful for your likes, your subscribes, your comments. It really makes a difference. I know I keep saying it, but for a small channel, it really does support going up against a difficult algorithm. So once again, thank you and travel well, friends.